Alright, exciting. Got some new camera gear. I was trying to do it as low budget as possible, and I didn't spend very much money on it. Come on, sunlight. I see now why people use uh, what is it? Softbox lighting. More predictable. The sun came out from behind a cloud, went behind a cloud. The lighting has changed a lot. Anyway, so I got a ND filter. Is the stand falling down? Like slowly dropping. I feel like my head just keeps on getting closer and closer to the top of the... Anyway, so I got a ND filter. I think... I really don't understand this stuff very well, but I'm able to keep the aperture more open and not have it being overexposed. I've got a new stand, which is great because I have these parallettes that I made, which I would stand on the end and put the camera on top, and that wasn't great because the stand that I had was a little bit too big, and so it was almost falling off, and I'm balancing stuff and trying to change the position. Now I've got a new... my head just keeps getting closer. To be fair, the stand was pretty cheap. Anyway, and then I was able to take the other stand and put my light on that, which now is vertical, so it's not so easy for me to cover it, because I would often sort of shadow my face because it was laying on the ground. But yeah, now everything's a bit darker. I notice people often do some backlighting in there. Actually, that's kind of nice. This plant here is backlit by the sunlight coming in the windows. The other thing as well is that I can keep the windows mostly open. I close this one a little bit to keep the light on this side of my face a bit softer. But before, while trying to keep a low f-stop, keep the aperture open, which I'm not entirely sure why you do that. I know that, like, I don't know, more cinematic is a phrase I keep on seeing, which I don't even know what that means, really. I mean, yeah, whatever. And so, in the past, in the videos before now, I would pretty much close all the curtains and it was like super dark in here, and even then it was kind of too bright, where this ND filter, which is actually on the minimum setting right now, yeah, it's really helping. So yeah, it's nice to get some new equipment, and I also yes, I watched the video on the settings for my camera. In a few years ago, I was sort of learning about this stuff, so I have a tiny inkling of an idea of what's going on. You know, there's ISO and the aperture and the shutter speed and the frame rate, and they sort of interact, and don't really understand, but at least I know the concepts. And so as I was playing around with the settings, I realized that there was a audio setting, and it was like cranked way up, and I was just looking at the levels because I didn't understand why everything was coming in so hot. There was like so much noise happening, and my little field recorder sitting on top, and then into the lav mic that I was using, I just couldn't understand why there was so much noise. And then I look in this setting, and the levels were just jumping even when I'm not talking. And so I turned that way down, and I'm really hoping, I wasn't getting anything while I was silent, and then when I was talking it was jumping up to about minus 12 dB, which I think is a pretty good amount to leave headroom. Again, one of those terms that I know more about music than I know about cameras, and still headroom. I don't know if anyone knows what that means. I don't know, it's just space for more sound. I know that's how I understand it in music. You can add more components, and then, don't know how it works when you just got a single voice. Well, this is an interesting video, just me talking about all the stuff that I don't actually understand. Wow, my stand just keeps falling down, I think. I don't know, I feel like I'm going a little crazy. Just always having to duck. And I used to have this other light, really cool, small light, but had a lot of power, and I gave it away because I was like, I'm not using any of this camera stuff anymore, and someone really wanted it, and now I'm kind of like, can I please have it back? Because then I have visions of backlighting this plant maybe, and giving it a bit more of a warm vibe. Over this side is kind of uninteresting. I sometimes like to get the guitar in there, 'cause at least that's something of interest. And then if I'm sitting here, then I've got the computer. Backpack, interesting backpack. And then sometimes I open and close that. There's more going on, but then when it's open, but I don't know if that's a good thing. There I was sort of judging myself on, this is not a very interesting episode, I'm just talking about camera stuff, but I have to remind myself that this is what it's about. It's sitting down and saying whatever and removing the judgment, because I'm so damn good at the judgment. This is what's wrong, this is what's wrong, this is what's wrong. And while I understand that can serve a purpose in perfectionism, someone without any degree of perfectionism is freer on the one hand, because they're able to just do and do and create, and they don't have to care about whether or not the outcome is good enough. But then on the other hand, I think you need at least a little bit of it, so then you can actually create something beautiful. Like you're critical enough that you want to keep on working on it until it's good enough. But yeah, it's such a hard balance, and I'm trying to lean towards more of just like, get it the fuck out of here, get it out there, and stop caring about whether it's good enough. So another thing I think about actually is when I was living, sort of travelling in Europe for a year and some and change, I really tried to hide my Australianisms, and I think I did pretty well. People would ask where I'm from and weren't certain. And definitely a lot of Australians have more of an Australian voice. No, don't even try doing an Australian accent. It's horrible. And yeah, I find I remove the Australianisms from my vocabulary. Less so now than in the past, but the mates and the g'days and whatever have never been my style. And so that's something I like. Mine a little bit of concern is, yeah, even when I'm watching movies and someone Australian comes in, it just makes me feel like uncomfortable. There's something about that accent, and maybe it's more to do with me than anyone else. But people definitely sort of make fun of it in media. Like, I don't think there's people don't really make fun of other accents that much. Or maybe I don't notice. Maybe it's less culturally sensitive to make fun of Australians, because who cares? Where if you make fun of other people's accents, I don't know, everyone's accents gets paid out at some point. Especially Americans, so anyway, that's just a point of judgment that I am noticing in myself, that if at some point an audience is to arise, perhaps I will feel somewhat self-conscious about the fact that my voice is Australian. But, you know, I don't care. Let it go. Let it go. Yeah, I'll be interested to see how this comes up on the bigger screen, because it always looks really nice on my tiny little camera monitor, and then I put it on the screen and all the black stuff is super grainy. You know, actually the background is looking kind of blurred. That's cool. Actually, if I get closer, does it look more blurred? Yeah, here we go. Lift this bad boy. Okay, so I'm close, I'm taking up more space. The background is a bit more blurred. Yep, just learning how this stuff works while I'm recording this video. Okay, I think I'm about done. As the sun's coming out and everything's getting super bright, what if we turn this guy? There we go. Yeah, the stand is definitely sinking. I don't know what I can do about that. Oh well. Okay, I'm actually excited to watch this one back a little bit. Ah, yes. I was hoping we'd get some of that. There we go. Got some rainbow on my chest. Let's turn this down. Nice ending.